I'm about to show you the exact negotiation strategy I used to go from a $95,000 offer letter to a $135,000 offer letter as an AWS cloud engineer. After negotiating my own salary multiple times and coaching over 400 students through this exact process, I've learned most people leave tens of thousands of dollars on the table because they just don't know what to say. So by the end of this video, you'll know the exact framework to get companies competing to pay you more. Most people fail at negotiation because they accept the very first offer they get. They don't realize company expect you to negotiate. In fact, when you don't, you actually lose a bit of respect. Here's what most people don't know. Every single offer you receive is a test. It's the company's way of seeing whether you understand your value. They're not being malicious, it's just business. The first number they give you, it's never the top of their range. It's what's called a budgeted lowball. Think of it like this. When a company opens a role, they create a salary band. Let's say $85,000 to $140,000. Their job is to hire the best person they can for the lowest number possible within that band. Your job is to show them why you belong at the top of that range. The biggest mindset shift that changed everything for me was realizing I wasn't asking for a favor, I was demonstrating value. You're not begging for more money, you're showing why the company will actually save or make more money by hiring you. When I first tried to negotiate, I messed up pretty badly. I remember my first big cloud offer and it was around $85,000. I was so excited that I immediately said yes. 2 weeks later, I found out someone on my same team with less experience was making $15,000 more. That moment definitely hit me hard. It taught me that silence cost money. The next time around, I used a completely different approach, and that's how I jumped my salary from $85,000 to making over six figures. Now, after coaching hundreds of students through the same process, I've seen it play out every single time. Most cloud engineers settle for 85K, 100K offers when the company actually had budget for $120,000 to $140,000. And here's the truth. The hiring manager wants to pay you more if you can just justify it. It's not coming out of their personal pocket. So before you ever sign another offer letter, just remember this. The first number is just the starting point. How you respond determines whether you walk away with 85K or 135K. Once I understood the psychology behind negotiation, I built a 3-step framework that works every single time. Whether you're interviewing for a new cloud engineer role or asking for a raise where you already work, these are the exact steps I used to go from 85K offer letter to 130K plus offer letter, and what I now teach my students to use routinely to add an extra $20,000 to $40,000 to their offers. Step number 1, you never want to give a number first. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember this. Person who throws out the first number loses the negotiation. When a recruiter asks, so what are your salary expectations? Most people blur out a number because they don't want to sound difficult. That's exactly what the recruiter wants. Because once you say 110K, they'll never offer 135K even if the budget allows it. Here's the script I give every one of my students. I'm sure you already have a range in mind for this role based on the responsibilities and my experience level. What range were you thinking? This one sentence does 2 things. Number 1, it flips the power dynamic. You make them reveal their cards first. Number 2, it positions you as someone who understands business and not just tech. Every time I've used that line, the recruiter shared their range. Once you know their range, now you're in control. Step number 2, anchor high with market data. After they give you their range, you don't want to just pick a number. You anchor high. You do this by backing your value with data and skills. When I was negotiating, I didn't just rely on Glassdoor, I went deep. I looked at multiple different platforms to see what engineers with AWS, Terraform, Kubernetes experience were really making in my city. I discovered that engineers doing what I did, building infrastructure, managing EKS clusters, were earning around anywhere from 130 to 150. So I went back to the recruiter and I could confidently say, based on my research of cloud engineers with AWS and DevOps experience in the DC area, I've seen ranges from $130,000 to $155,000. I'm sure you have a budget in mind for this role. What range were you thinking? Notice, you're not being arrogant, you're being informed. You're showing them you know your market value and you're speaking their language. Step number 3, create competition even when there isn't any. Now, this is where leverage comes in. Companies move faster and pay more when they think that they're not the only ones at the table. You never have to lie, you just have to create perceived competition. Here's what I did for my own negotiation. I'm in the final stage with another company that's in a similar range. I'm hoping to make a decision soon. I really like your team. If we can get closer to $135,000, I'd be ready to move forward quickly. That sentence changed everything for me. The recruiter went back to their manager, and 2 days later, I had an offer letter for $135,000. Because urgency creates movement. They don't want to lose you to another offer. And when you sound confident and in demand, companies find extra budget to make it work. Now, if you're watching this and you're stuck in a help desk role, making anywhere from 40 to 60K, and you're ready to break into cloud engineering, so you can use this same framework to negotiate to $120,000 to $150,000 offer letters, I actually run an 8-week program that gets you hands-on AWS project experience, interview prep, and the exact system to land these roles. Just click the first link in the description below to learn more. Now, let's get back into the good stuff. The exact words you can use during your next negotiation, the truth is not just what you say, it's how you say it. These scripts have helped me personally and my students go from 85K offers to 130K, 150K, and even 180K roles. So take notes, because you can literally copy and paste this into your next conversation or email. When they ask, what are your salary expectations? This question is a trap. They're not asking because they don't know. They're asking because they want you to lowball yourself. Here's exactly how to respond. Based on my research of cloud engineers with AWS, Terraform, and DevOps experience in the market, I've seen ranges from about $120,000 to $150,000. I'm sure you have the budget in mind for this role. What range were you thinking? This does 3 things. Number 1, it shows you've done your homework. Number 2, it flips the question back on them. Number 3, it positions you as someone who knows their value without sounding arrogant. If you deliver that confidently, recruiters instantly realize you're not an easy lowball candidate when they give you the initial offer. So let's say they come back with something like, we'd like to offer you $115,000. Here's exactly what they say. Thank you so much for the offer. I'm genuinely excited about the opportunity to join the team. I'd like to take 24 hours to review everything in detail and get back to you. Does that work? That's it. You don't accept, you don't decline, you just create space. This 24 to 48 hour pause gives you time to evaluate and come back with a strategic counteroffer. Also signals that you're a professional and not desperate. Now, this is when you frame your response in terms of value, not emotion. Here's the email template I personally use and teach all my students. Subject: excited about the opportunity. Hi, recruiter name. Thank you so much for the offer. I'm genuinely excited about the opportunity to contribute to the team at company name. After reviewing the responsibilities and considering the impact I can bring, particularly with my experience in AWS, Terraform, and automation, I was hoping we could explore a base salary in the $140,000 range. I truly believe this aligns with the market rate for engineers with similar experience and ensures I can bring my full focus to delivering value from day one. Thank you again for the opportunity, and I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts. This approach is what I call the justification sandwich. It starts with gratitude, adds a clear justification, skills, projects, results, end with a polite ask. When I used this structure, I saw an immediate 30K increase. The recruiter literally said, let me talk to the hiring manager and see what we can do. That single email turned an 85K offer letter to an 135K offer letter. Remember, you're not demanding, you're inviting them to see your value. When you frame it that way, the negotiation becomes a collaboration and not a confrontation. Now I want to show you how one of my students used this exact same framework step by step to turn a 115K offer into a $140,000 offer letter without any prior negotiation experience. This is exactly what he did step by step. When he joined my program, he was already in IT making around 80K a year. He was smart, hardworking, but like a lot of IT professionals, he was underpaid and overlooked. He told me straight up, Tyle, I've been applying for cloud roles, but I keep getting stuck at 85K offers. That's when I introduced him to the 3-step negotiation framework. We went through it together, and I told him, you're not asking for permission, you're presenting value. A few months later, after completing his AWS projects and finishing our interview prep, he got a call from a hiring manager at a major tech consulting firm. They loved his hands-on experience with Terraform, EKS, and CI/CD pipelines. They offered 115K. Should I take it? I told him, no, we're gonna play this smart. He used the exact script I gave him. Thank you so much for the offer. I'm really excited about this opportunity to join the team. Based on my experience automating AWS infrastructure and what I've seen for cloud engineers with similar skill sets, I was hoping we could explore something in the 145K range. I truly believe that reflects the value I can bring to the team from day one. He sent this with confidence. 2 days later, he got a call from the recruiter. She said, we reviewed everything internally and we can increase the offer letter to $140,000. He messaged me in all caps, bro, it worked. What made the difference wasn't that he was the smartest candidate, it's just that he understood the leverage. He had hands-on AWS project experience, he spoke the language of value, and he was willing to ask. That combination changed his entire life. And I've seen it happen over and over again. The moment you realize you're not negotiating for money, you're negotiating for respect and recognition, everything changes. Now that you've mastered the basics, let's talk about the advanced move to add an extra 10 to 20K to your offer. These are the strategies most engineers never even think about, but companies expect the best candidates to use them. Here's the biggest mistake people make. They focus only on base pay. But what if the company says, we're at the top of our salary range? That doesn't mean that they're out of money. Here's how to respond. I completely understand if the base salary range is fixed. Would there be any flexibility around a signing bonus or a professional development budget instead? Companies love this because signing bonuses or education budget usually comes from a different department's funds. They can easily add 10 to 15K to seal the deal, and it doesn't affect their salary cap. When I negotiated one of my offers, I did the exact same thing. The base salary stayed the same, but I added an additional 10K signing bonus, remote with flexibility, and a 3K annual certification budget. That's $13,000 of extra value from one single email. So remember, if they can't move on salary, move on everything else. This one is powerful, but it has to be used ethically. Here's the truth. Companies move faster when they know you have other options. You don't have to lie, but you do have to communicate urgency. Here's how I usually say it. I'm currently in final stages with another company, but I'm really interested in your team and this opportunity. I'd love to make a decision soon, so do you have flexibility to come closer to $150,000 a year? That one sentence creates competition even if your other option isn't a formal offer yet. It makes them realize they're not the only one courting you. When I used this myself, one company increased my offer by 25K in less than 48 hours just to secure the deal. The key here is timing. You don't want to bring this up too early. You only want to mention this after they've made an offer or clearly shown strong interest. The final advanced tip is know when to walk away. This one is the hardest one, but it's the most powerful one. Sometimes a company really can't go higher, and that's okay, because walking away from a low offer creates space for something better. You have to be willing to say, I completely understand if that's the best thing you can do. I really appreciate the offer, but I think I'm going to move into a different direction. This line communicates confidence, and sometimes walking away makes them rethink their budget. I've had students turn down 90K offers, 110K offers, and 48 hours later, they get callbacks with 135K offers. Why? Because they finally took them seriously. Negotiation is never just about money. It's about value, posture, and belief. You have to know that you're worth more before they will. You never want to give a number first. You always want to anchor high with market data and create competition even when there isn't any. Those 3 steps alone can add an extra 20 to 40K to your offers. If you want to land a high-paying cloud engineer role and learn the complete system, building real-world AWS projects and acing interviews to negotiating 6-figure offers, I work with IT professionals stuck in help desk jobs, transition them into $120,000, $150,000 cloud engineer roles within 6 to 12 months. We have live coaching, a Slack community, and we guarantee you'll land a job within 12 months or you get your money back. Click the first link in the description below now to learn more about the program, and I'll see you over there.